this is Seema and I'm back with a new lesson on using the word through. Well, this is a very common word and I can tell you for a fact that you use it almost 20 times every day. Well, a lot of us don't know, but the word through can be used in various different ways depending on what the meaning of the sentence is supposed to be. So let us look at the different ways you can use the word through. Well, the first way to use the word through is when you want to indicate a movement from one side to another side. Okay, so we indicate movement. Let's look at our sentence. The sentence says, I drove through the city last night. So let's say, for example, this out here is a city, okay? I drove from this end to this end. And that's when I use the word through to indicate movement from one point to another point. So I say, I drove through the city last night. Our next way of using the word through is to indicate a passage. When I say a passage, I mean like a physical passage from one end to another. Okay, so this is a movement we're talking about, and here I'm talking about a passage which refers to an actual physical road or a physical passage. So let's have a look at this sentence. It says, there is a side road through the forest. Okay, so here's your forest, okay, and there is an actual physical road, an actual physical passage through the forest, and that's why I use the word through, because I'm talking about an actual road, an actual passage, a physical passage that is from one end to another. Or I could say something like, I walked through the forest very slowly. Now I'm talking about a passage that is right there in the middle of the forest. Okay, let's move on to our next way of using the word through. Another way we can use the word through is when we want to talk about going in and out of a process, or shall I say treatment? Okay, so there is a certain procedure you've got to follow, a certain treatment you've got to go through. That's when you use the word through. Okay, so a sentence like, the matter went through the manager's hand. So maybe, you know, in your office there is a legal matter going on, so it has to follow a certain procedure. Now this has to be dealt with with a manager, so that's when you will use the word through, because you are saying that this procedure or treatment has to be gone through, and therefore you say the matter went through the manager's hand. If I go through a surgery, I can say I went through a very painful surgery, because I'm talking about going in and out of a process or a treatment. And the other way we can use the word or the expression through is when we are talking about relationships. And when I mean relationships, I'm talking about relationships in your family, your blood relationships. So I can say something like, we are related through our aunts. So you and I, we're cousins because we are related through our aunts. Or I know Bill through, a mutual friend. So it could be blood relationships or any other relationship which connects people. That's how you come to know each other, and that's when you use the word through once again. And the next way of using the word through is when you want to talk about a way of spreading some kind of news or some kind of gossip. Okay, so let's look at our sentence. Our sentence says, I got to know the news through the internet. Or I got to know the good news through your parents. So here I'm using the word through because I'm saying that someone or somehow the news got spread through someone, and therefore I use the word through. So I got to know of the fact that you've passed your exams through your best friend. So that talks about spreading or a way of getting something known to you because someone has spread that news or information. Another very common way of using the word through is when we want to talk about a set of condition. Or maybe a certain set of circumstances that are there in front of you. So I can say something like, I went through a torture yesterday while writing my exams. So I'm talking about a set of conditions. So I am really not feeling very good while writing my paper, and that's a condition of my mind at that point in time, and therefore I use the word through because I say I went through a torture yesterday while giving my test. Or I could say something like, I went through a very tough time trying to explain it to my mother. So that's a set of condition. And the next way we can use the word through is when we are trying to talk about a period of time. Okay, so if I work from Monday to Saturday, most of us say I work Monday to Saturday, but you can use the word through instead and say the sentence like, I am at work Monday through Saturday. So in that case, you don't have to use the word from, because you can say, I am at work Monday through Saturday. Okay, so that indicates a period of time. And another way of using the word through is when I want to talk about or indicate something from the beginning to the end. To the end of like a process or a procedure. So a movie is like, something that you have got to go through from the beginning to the end. So if I was laughing from the beginning to the end of a movie because it was very funny, I can use the word through instead by saying, I was laughing all through the movie. In other words, I was laughing from the beginning to the end of the movie. Okay? And the last way of using the word through is when we want to talk about something that happens because or due to something or somebody. So basically in these cases, the word through is merely used to replace the word because or due to. So I can say something like, it was all through her that we lost our money. We went gambling. So instead of saying we lost our money because or we lost our money due to her, I can replace it with the word through instead and say it was all through her that we lost our money. Well, that's it from me on this lesson with using the word through. As you can see, there are various ways to use the word through. Well, I'll be back with some more lessons. Until then, this is me saying